Hey, everybody. Welcome to the July community call for Axillar. My name is Galen, content.
Hey Galen, Eli here from the marketing side of the house. How we doing?
Doing okay, thanks. Doing all right. Glad it's Friday.
I am too. Summer Friday.
Yeah, indeed. You got any plans for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm going up to Portland, Maine.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
day trip.
Sounds like
Yeah.
fun.
How about you?
Well, nothing much. I live in Jamaica Plain neighborhood in Boston. They're shutting down some of the streets here. So we're going to have I don't know, we're going to see what that looks like. A little street party
Nice,
here in town. Yeah.
nice.
Well, before we bore anybody to tears, let's get right into it and tell people what's been happening at Axillar over the past month. I think we want to start with some of the new technology features that we pushed in the past month. One of them, I think one of the most important ones is a capability for querying and recovering transactions. So if you think about what happens when messages go cross chain, things don't always go as planned. It's complex. We want to, make sure that complexity is abstracted from both the user ultimately, and also for developers, that things are simple as well. So a new tool in our software development kit is the ability to query, and then ultimately, if a transaction is stuck, to recover a transaction that's going cross chain. And of course, that's designed so that developers can build that into their DApp, so that becomes a kind of a seamless feature for users. For more information about that one and other Axillar features, you go to docs.axillar.dev, and you find the developers section. There includes a section on the Axillar JS SDK, and that's where you'll find GMP transaction status and recovery. And that GMP, of course, stands for general message passing. So that's one feature rolled out in the month of June. Another thing we did was a mainnet upgrade. Nothing much to see there, just some housekeeping and clean up. No real new features to speak of in that, but that mainnet upgrade did go smoothly around the 8th of June. And as well, we rolled out some new utilities for Solidity developers. Solidity is probably the most commonly used smart contract language, even though, as we saw in the Stack Overflow annual survey, just about 1.5% of the developers surveyed in that actually use Solidity. So I think goes to show how far we are from really the kind of widespread adoption and use of smart contract languages from where we'd like to be. Rust, of course, also a popular language in smart contract programming, but also a more general use language as well. So when it comes to kind of a pure play smart contract programming language, Solidity is probably the most widely used, but still very early days in its adoption. In any event, we rolled out some new tools for Solidity developers. You can also find that under the developer section at docs.axillar.dev under the heading Solidity Utilities. And one of the ones there that I think is probably the most significant is a constant address deployer. So when you're creating a cross-chain DApp, you need the same contract deployed on multiple chains. And of course, right. And not always, but often. And it's you need to know the address of that contract on each chain, right? Obviously, in order to connect to those various chains, you need to know where that contract is located. The easiest way to do that on an EVM compatible chain is to have it be at the same address. So constant address deployer is simply a tool that allows you to ensure that the smart contract that's being deployed will be deployed at the same address on multiple chains. Again, just a kind of a small convenience for developers who are building cross-chain using Axillar. So, that's, I think, kind of the extent of what we are at least, rolling out in June. We're looking at, into July, more features coming. So do stay tuned.
Yeah.
And you can find information about all those again at docs.axillar.dev, or if you're having trouble finding that, just go to our webpage. You'll see the link right on the top right.
So a lot of good development happening. And as you said, a lot of good information in the docs. I know that you've been working with the team to kind of make that information more accessible through kind of a few different types of programs going forward. I think we just kicked off our first iteration of that yesterday with Sergey. You want to talk a little bit about those sessions?
Yeah, that was fun. So we started to do, we've obviously, I think, for everybody, documentation is a process. I would say our documentation has gotten better, continues to get better. The team is always working on ways we can improve, clean up the flow there, make it easier for developers to use. I think our goal is really for the developer who's motivated, ready to go, knows what they want to do. There's a process there that's very straightforward and streamlined. But then, of course, there are resources alongside for the developer who wants to dig a little deeper, have a bit of a more high-level holistic sense of what cross-chain development is all about. And with both of those goals in mind, we have just launched a series of live sessions. The first one was yesterday, as you mentioned. Sergey and I sat down and walked through the Axillar tech stack. We did that live, which was, kind of fun. But of course, it's all, recorded on YouTube and available there at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/Axillar core is where you can find that, or just, search Axillar on YouTube. And, we hope that's the first of a series of those. I think in a couple weeks, we'll come back and do another high level session like that, looking at the Axillar Scan Block Explorer is what I'd like to cover. So look for the details on that on a Thursday, 2 weeks from now. Next week on Thursday, looks like we're going to drop a video. It's going to be a live coding session, going through some of the one of the capabilities, the functions that is in the Axillar API, which is the send message with token. So in general message passing, you can send any payload. You can send a message, and that message could be yo or GM, or it could be a function call for a smart contract on another chain. Alongside that message that you're sending, you can also send tokens as well. So the very simple use case I think we'll be going through next week is going to be how you can send instructions for how to distribute a token cross-chain. So, sort of practical uses for that you could imagine would be, say, an airdrop, or a DAO that is distributing proceeds from some of its activities to participants. Simply the ability to things that are trivial to do, of course, when you're doing them within a certain ecosystem. We're now taking that kind of, really core functionality of an ecosystem, say like Ethereum, an interoperable ecosystem where different applications and contracts can talk to each other. We're taking that cross-chain. So now you can say, okay, I've got participants in my DAO who are coming from this chain, that chain, this chain, and I'm going to be able to distribute assets to them in a very seamless way, without them having to then, go bridge the asset or, create a new address or entity on a separate chain. All of that becomes kind of part of the functionality of what you're building for those users.
That's very cool. So we got a mixture every other week or so. We've got some high level learning kind of, stuff. And then we've also got some hands on the keyboard kind of practical stuff to follow along with.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the goal. And I think alongside those videos, we will have we'll have a series of blog posts as well that are more code snippet tutorials for those who we've got stuff for those who want to watch a video to learn, those who want to are more into just reading the steps and the instructions in a more kind of straightforward way.
Yeah.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention also, we're starting to send to distribute those resources via our newsletter email. In the past, we've really used the email as a way to just update on a monthly basis, similar to these calls. We send an email once a month saying, hey, this is what Axillar has been working on. These are the new partnerships we brought in, things like that. We're starting to use that list also to distribute more information about, how can you build cross-chain? What can you do? What's possible? Yeah. We've been profiling connected chains that are connected by the Axillar network. For those who come in, I think most people are familiar with what Ethereum can do, for example, but maybe are not as familiar with some of the lesser known chains that we connect. So we've been looking at some of those. What do they do? What can you build on them? What are other people building on them? So that people can get a sense of, okay, what's the right environment for my use case? Where am I going to build? And then, via that chain that's connected to Axillar network, connect to users, to liquidity, to what have you, to assets that are stored on other chains.
Nice. Yeah. So if you don't subscribe already to our newsletter, there's good content coming out pretty much every week now, more or less. So definitely recommend hopping on that so you can stay up to speed with all the good stuff we've got coming out.
Yeah, just go to axillar.network, scroll down to the bottom. The we don't put the sign up in your face, but it's down there. Just put your email address in, or your burner email or whatever. You can always, any of the emails we send, you can always reply, tell us if you like it, if you hate it, and what your questions are, what you'd like to see us answer in the future. Certainly interested in that kind of feedback.
There is a human on the other end that is listening. Yes.
It me.
Yes. So shall we move on to the next topic?
Indeed.
All right. Token launch update.
Token launch. That's right. So we are pushing back the token launch yet again. And I know that's created some disappointment among people who would love to have the AXL token in their hands. Believe me, I'm one of those people. But I think, the ultimate upshot of it is we really want to make sure that the moment that people have it, they'll be able to have utility with it. They'll be able to use it. And of course, the use, the primary use of the AXL token really is staking and securing the Axillar network. I think, the token is also used to pay fees and transactions across the network. But really for users, that use is abstracted, right? We're not, people going cross-chain on Axillar are not going to be required to hold the AXL token in order to pay fees. All of the conversions from a source chain token, fees are paid in the source chain token, and conversions are calculated and handled on the back end, either by an Axillar provided service or, by a service provided by somebody else potentially.
Yeah.
Again, really want to make sure that people are able to have that primary use case right at the beginning. And so we've been working with our partners at CoinList to ensure that people who participated in the community sale there will be able to stake through their CoinList wallet from day one. And so working out the custody and staking aspects of that has taken longer than expected. And that launch is now scheduled for September 14. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. I think we're very confident that we'll be able to hold to that date and deliver the token at that time. And that's a huge milestone for Axillar Network as well, because it does represent the moment at which we truly kind of take a step forward on becoming a decentralized network. I think the sort of permissionless technology is here, but until the token is available, it hasn't actually achieved a permissionless state that it's designed to reach. Where anyone who accumulates stake can validate on the network.
Fair enough. Well, coming soon. We appreciate the update, Galen. I think if we're good there, Galen, I think we'll move on and introduce a new member of the team.
That sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
Is it your mustache? Is that the new member of the team?
I was waiting for when you were going to drop that.
I almost forgot.
I knew it was coming.
How could I forget? It's right there.
Okay. I don't know how long this member of the team's going to be here, but I'm enjoying.
I'm like the contribution so far has been strong to quite strong.
Thank you. All right, we're going to introduce Jason. So Galen, I'm going to remove you and add Jason back.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, man. Jason, how we doing?
Hey, Eli. Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to have you on board. It's been a little while, but it's been a while also since we've done our community calls. So looking forward to introducing you to everybody here. So why don't we kind of just hop into that and tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and how you got into Web3.
Yeah, sounds great, Eli. I'm thrilled to be joining the team. What has it been? Just over a month? Feels like we've already done so much. Eh?
And just for everyone's knowledge, Jason is one of our business development directors. So he's been focused on building new partnerships within across kind of the many different ecosystems that we're focused on. So go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
Yeah, and we'll have some amazing partnerships to tell you guys a little bit about later in the call. But yeah, a quick summary about myself. So prior to joining Axillar, I led the strategy and operations team at Ripple for EMEA. My background has primarily been in management consulting, where I started my career at a strategy firm called Roland Berger, and then later doing corporate strategy at a big Fortune 500 company called CBRE, before then doing strategy and operations for tech companies like WeWork. I'm really excited to be joining the BD team. I think, as you guys have been following Axillar knows, we have some of the best technology out there when it comes to interoperability solutions. We just need to tell our story and further build on our partnerships. And, within the last month, I've definitely seen just the amount of traction we're getting in the market. So I couldn't be more excited to be here. I guess a quick story about how I got into crypto. I think like many of us, I was following Ethereum and Bitcoin in early 2017 and just thought of these as very interesting assets to trade on. But it really wasn't until DeFi summer that I really got deep into crypto. So I was speaking to my friend at Wintermute, and they're a big market maker, as some of you may know. And they were trading, using their algorithms with leverage on DYDX. And that was the first time that I heard about DYDX. And I thought, okay, this is quite interesting. Played around with it, didn't think much of it. And during the crash of May last year, I thought, Dogecoin, this thing has no intrinsic value. It's totally momentum based. I'm going to short it with DYDX. And, with very little trading experience, I decided to short it with lots of leverage, like classic crypto degen. And, I made a lot of money and then lost a lot of money and then made a lot of money and, almost had a heart attack. By the end of it, I said, I'm never touching this thing again. Yeah. And then 2 months later, DYDX says, we're doing an airdrop based on volume. I'm like, oh, I must have had so much volume, because at one point I was shorting so much Dogecoin, they ran out of liquidity in the order book and I had a huge instant loss. And I remember complaining to the DYDX team. But as a result, I got the largest DYDX airdrop. And that was really the start of everything. I'm like, okay, I got to take this stuff a little bit more seriously. And then started doing a lot more research, tried out different chains, and became very interested in crypto since then.
Awesome. That's a good story. And, what kind of piqued your interest about Axillar? What's exciting to you in this space, about what we're doing, and made you really want to kind of join the team and help build us out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as a continuation to that story, right, after, exploring around DeFi and the cross chains, I was trying out Solana, I was trying out Avalanche, all of these all L1s at the time. And I just remember trying to get my funds across from one chain to another was painfully difficult, right? And then you saw all the bridge hacks as well. To me, it was a no-brainer that we needed better interoperability solution to drive adoption for crypto. And it really wasn't until the AvLab Summit when I met the team that I heard about Axillar. And then, upon further doing research, I just thought what we were doing is so cool, right? I didn't appreciate that there were technologies out there that was more than just bridging assets, but being the ability to call smart contracts across different chains. And the idea that we can now create this super app with Axillar's technology was just so exciting. And I thought I absolutely have to be part of this, because I think what we're doing here is really going to change the industry. Totally.
So, you're working with a lot of different types of partners. Maybe you can kind of tell us, before you get into some of the kind of specific announcements you're going to talk about later, what kinds of organizations are you working with? Are you focused in on any particular ecosystems? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for me, the mandate has really been a focus on DeFi, NFTs, and gaming. And this really coincides with my previous experience, my relationships I built within crypto, as well as my passions. So, within the first month, I've started many conversations with companies in these verticals. And I'll have to tell you what, it is probably the easiest job ever, because, most people just haven't heard of Axillar, but when you tell them a little bit more about what we can do and what the possibilities are, everyone just wants to learn more. So it's incredibly exciting.
Very cool. And where are you based, Jason?
So I am based in London, but as you can probably tell by my accent, I'm originally Canadian. I grew up in Calgary, went to school just outside of Toronto in a place called London, Ontario, but I've been living here in London for the last 3 years.
Very cool. All right. So, if anybody watching here is building cross-chain and you're looking to kind of reach out to someone specific on the team to learn more about working with Axillar, I'm just going to drop Jason's Telegram handle here, and I'll leave that up for a couple minutes. Reach out to him. He's a friendly guy, and he is very knowledgeable, so he can help you get started with whatever it is you're trying to build. So Jason, why don't I kind of hand it over to you to talk a little bit more about, some of the recent partnership updates and announcements that we've got. A lot going on, a lot coming up, so would love to hear your take on it.
Yeah, it sounds great, Eli. We certainly have so many exciting partnerships that I want to walk everyone through. I'd say, first and foremost, the most exciting one is the continuation of our partnership with Osmosis. For those people that are not aware, Osmosis is the largest DEX in the Cosmos ecosystem. A while back, they had a community vote, and Axillar became the canonical bridging solution for Osmosis, and we were able to connect Cosmos to the EVM chain for the first time ever. But what's really exciting is that we're building on that momentum, right? Really proving that we're not just a bridge provider. So Osmosis, as of right now, is working with us to build cross-chain swaps. And that's super exciting because what you're able to do now is really swap any asset for another. And how that really looks like is, for example, you now will have pairs of, like, let's say Solana and Osmo, Matic and Osmo, and this offers them native cross-chain swaps across any two chains. For example, a Solana holder or a Sol holder on Solana will be able to submit a single transaction through their Phantom wallet. And then on the back end, Solana gets routed to Osmosis through Axillar and then gets swapped to Matic in one atomic transaction. Nice. So Osmo is really the routing asset here. And the second flow requires Axillar's general message passing technology, which is why we are really supporting Osmosis to make this happen. So keep an eye out on that.
Cool.
The second project I'm really excited to announce is that we've built a partnership with MintDAO. For people that are not familiar with MintDAO, they're an NFT launchpad that's creating cross-chain NFT collections. And I think this is really cool for us because we have lots of NFT projects building on our platform in the pipeline, but this is really one of the first ones that we are to announce and hit market. And this just illustrates that the infrastructure we're building has many use cases, from DeFi to NFTs to gaming. And we're starting to see many of these partners come to fruition.
I'm looking for a new PFP, so it better be cross-chain if I'm going to go out and buy a new one, right?
Well, Eli, you should definitely speak to guys in MintDAO. I think they can hook you up with a great PFP.
All right. What else you got?
Right. So Kujira, for people that are into the Cosmos ecosystem, you guys will probably have heard that we have now Kujira integrated into Satellite. So now you can bridge assets like USDC from Terra to Osmosis and to Kujira, which is super exciting. And we'll have more of these kind of Cosmos partnership teed up in the coming days. The last announcement that I want to share with everyone is more of a teaser. I think this one is super exciting for us, and this is really the start of many things to come. I think there's been a lot of popularity and a lot of talk of Avalanche subnets, right? They're super exciting. I think they're a really exciting way to further scale the Avalanche ecosystem and really just scaling for crypto in general. But one of the issues that they're facing is how do you really create interoperability between the subnet, the C chain, and other blockchain ecosystem? As of today, there's been other bridging providers that can help move their tokens from C chain to the subnets, as well as potentially NFTs. But then it really just becomes kind of an island. How do you interact with the other subnets? This is where we think Axillar really have a superior value proposition, where not only do we enable that connectivity, composability, interoperability between the subnet and C chain, but between subnets and each other, and potentially to other EVM chains and IBC chains that we're connected to. So keep an eye out. We're going to have a major subnet announcement coming out soon with much more in the pipeline to come.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, hey, Jason, thanks for the introduction and the announcements. Let's move over into some upcoming events. We've had a very busy event calendar for the first half of the year. The team really kind of got built out from January on, and we've done a lot of travel as more and more people have kind of joined the team and been able to actually have a physical presence at some of these conferences. So we've been in, Paris, Prague, Austin, Texas, probably a whole bunch of others that I can't even remember right now, but we've got quite a few more coming up over the summer. Recently, we kicked off a new series that we call Axillar Hacks. And essentially, it's a developer workshop series to really kind of provide an in-person experience, in-person educational experience, kind of similar to the digital experiences that Galen was talking about earlier, right? So how do if you're a developer and you're interested in starting to build cross-chain, how do you go and learn about doing that? So we're kicking off kind of these meetup style, pretty intimate workshops in different cities. We've done it in a couple cities so far. Our first one was New York City, which was great. It was right on the back of NFT NYC. And our second one was actually last night in London. And Jason, I know you and Vlad and Yara were kind of running the show there. Maybe just a quick synopsis of how that went.
Yeah, Eli, I mean, for the first event in London, it was absolutely a huge success. We had tons of interest of people from like all walks of life, from devs that's been building crypto for a while to people who are, just interested and believing cross-chain is the future. Come check out the presentation, learn a little bit about Axillar. And Vlad did a really great job walking everyone through a simple demo. And, the feedback we got from the crowd was that they never thought it'd be so easy to actually build something cross-chain like this. So I would really encourage anyone that's interested to either check out the video that we recorded or attend one of these workshops in person. Come to meet us, and we'll on top of it, we'll give you guys some great beer and pizza
and merch. We're gonna
don't forget the merch.
We can't forget the merch. So look, we're going to be doing a bunch of these workshops in a number of different cities, largely in North America. So we've got some coming up in Toronto later this summer. So Axillar Hacks Toronto will be on August 2nd. And then we've got another one up in Montreal later towards the end of August. We're also looking at doing one in the San Francisco Bay Area. But if you have a passion for Axillar and you're interested in potentially hosting one of these developer meetups in your own city, please let us know. And we'd love to talk to you about kind of coordinating an event like this in the future. So let me just touch on a couple other events that we've got coming up, and then we'll close out. Our next major event is actually going to be ETH Toronto and the Futurist conference, and that's coming up in early August. That'll be August 8th through 10th. Again, that's in Toronto. A good number of members of the team are going to be there, and I welcome anybody that's in the Toronto area who is attending the Futurist conference or is a builder attending, ETH Toronto to come check us out. We're going to be sponsoring some bounties at the ETH Toronto Hackathon, and we're going to be, running some workshops as well, similar to the Axillar Hacks types of events that we've been doing. So that'll kind of close it out for events right now. I'll add Galen back here into the stream, and we can kind of finish up, see if there are any specific questions. Howdy.
Hey, Eli.
Hey.
Not seeing any specific questions coming through in the chat. Of course, if you if you do have any questions about anything here today and want to get in touch, that's easy to do via email, info@axillar.network. Of course, joining our Discord is a great way to do that as well. There are specific channels for developers, for validators, and also, general chat type of channels as well for, high-level questions or just discussion about cross-chain in general. So you can find the link to join the Discord on our website, axillar.network. And yeah, those are a couple of good ways to get in touch. Jason, in terms of BD and partnerships, I think you covered that, but if you just want to say it again, what's the best way for people who want to connect and start building using Axillar to get in touch with you?
Yeah, please don't hesitate to reach out to me either on Telegram or shoot me a DM on Twitter. I think my handle is there on screen. Happy to hear from anyone. Even if you're in the early stages of building and just want someone to bounce ideas off of, don't hesitate to come reach out. We can have a good chat.
Sounds good. And of course, we're continuing to hire and grow the team. I think, we're about 35 people now at this point. Most of that, at least about 25, is on the engineering side, and then the remaining 10 or so on the business side. And yeah, axillar.network/careers is where you can find all of the JDs and positions that are open. And certainly, even if you don't see something there that's like a perfect fit or whatever, there are lots of ways to get involved via the community and Discord. And so, certainly welcome any kind of engagement from people who want to get involved with the project.
Nice.
Scams. We have to talk about scams.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we have to talk about scams. So, just like any project, there's lots of fake information out there. People trying to take your fill in the blank, because we're a cross-chain project. They might be taking any kind of asset. Currently, there are no sales ongoing. Any sites proposing a token sale are fake and should be ignored. Anybody in your DMs offering you AXL token via an OTC transaction, also fake. Please certainly ignore those, and certainly benefit us and others in the Axillar community if you can flag those individuals or bots or whatever they may be, those accounts that are promoting scams like that and trying to take people's funds. One note on that is that if you do see something and you think it might be legitimate, the best source of truth is always axillar.network. If you go to axillar.network and you don't see any information corroborating what you're seeing elsewhere, then it's definitely fake and should be ignored and reported.
Words to live by. All right. Well, let's see. Any final questions? Doesn't look like it. So I guess we can wrap up.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Hope everyone's having a good summer, and have a great rest of your Friday.
See everybody next month.
Bye.
All right. See ya.